It's not rejection, it's fear. That's what no one told you. That's the truth hidden underneath all those wounds, all those no's, all those closed doors. You thought they didn't choose you. You thought you weren't good enough. You believed the silence was the world's answer to your voice. But it wasn't. It never was. You weren't rejected. You were afraid. Afraid to show all of you. Afraid to stand too tall, shine too bright, risk too much. You held back, not because you weren't ready, but because you were scared of what would happen if you fully committed. So you half tried. You delayed. You stayed in the safety of preparation, in the comfort of maybe later, in the illusion of not yet. And then when it didn't work out, when it didn't land, when the results didn't match the vision, you called it rejection. But rejection didn't happen to you. You rejected yourself first. You gave fear your voice. You handed it the keys. And fear doesn't need to scream to be powerful. It whispers. It wraps itself around your thoughts. It convinces you to stay quiet when you were born to speak. It tells you to wait when the moment is screaming for action. And the worst part, you believed it. You didn't get rejected. You didn't fail. You withdrew. You stepped back just before the breakthrough. You hesitated at the edge of everything you ever wanted. And in that moment, fear won. Not the world, not rejection, not luck, fear. Every time you stayed silent, when your heart was pounding to be heard, every time you talked yourself out of an opportunity before it even arrived, every time you minimized your dream to make it seem more reasonable. That wasn't rejection. That was you letting fear write your story. And now, here you are, still carrying the weight of things that never even had the chance to become real, calling them failures, labeling them mischances. If you're honest with yourself, really honest, you'll see it. They weren't rejections, they were retreats. Moments you pulled back from instead of pushing through. Moments you blinked when you should have locked eyes with your future and said, I'm coming for you. But that's the game fear plays. It makes you forget how powerful you are. It feeds you lies wrapped in logic. It tells you, be careful. Don't get hurt again. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't aim too high. And so you shrink, you delay, you sit in the back row of your own life. But deep inside, something's burning. A voice that says, I know this isn't who I'm meant to be. A pulse that kicks up every time you see someone else living the way you know you could. If only you stop playing small. The pain you're feeling right now, it's not from being rejected. It's from knowing you haven't gone all in. It's the age of unused power. Listening to words unspoken, of steps unstepped, voices untapped. You haven't been shut out by life, you've been hiding from it. But somewhere along the way, fear told you that failure's the end. That being vulnerable is dangerous. That dreaming too big guarantees heartbreak. But listen close to fear lies. Failure isn't fatal. Being vulnerable is where your power lies. And heartbreak, that's not the enemy. It's the proof that you care deeply enough to try. So stop calling it rejection. Stop giving fear the dignity of a name it didn't earn. Call it what it really is, avoidance. Hesitation, delay, self-betrayal disguised as self-protection. You don't need more talent. You don't need more time. You don't need approval. What you need is the courage to stop letting fear define you. Because the next time that voice whispers, don't do it, they'll reject you. Stay quiet, they'll laugh at you. Don't reach too far, they'll push you away. Let your soul scream louder. It's not rejection, it's fear. And I'm done running from it by your own inner critic. Now it's time to break the chain, to pull the lie out by the root, to choose power over paralysis, truth over terror, forward over frozen. Because the only thing standing between you and your next level is the lie you're still listening to. Break it. Now, you've broken the lie. Now it's time to break the sleep. Wake up. Not physically, but spiritually, mentally, and unapologetically. Wake up to the power that's been buried under layers of fear, doubt, and delay. Wake up to the fire that's been flickering quietly inside of you, waiting for permission to burn. Because you are not broken. You are not too late. You are not falling behind. What you are is powerful beyond measure. You've just been numb to it. And here's why you've spent so much time trying to avoid the pain, the judgment, the risk, that you've also avoided the truth. The truth that you are built for more. That every cell in your body was wired for movement, for creation, for impact. That your soul isn't asking for comfort. It's begging for a fight worth showing up for. A cause worth bleeding for. A vision worth risking your name for. But you've been asleep, sleepwalking through your own potential. Choking on, someday, drifting on autopilot. Convincing yourself that your hunger is unreasonable, that your dreams are too big, that your fire is too wild. No, what's wild is the thought that you could play small and still feel whole. What's wild is thinking you could suppress your power and still live with peace. Because you can't. There is nothing peaceful about pretending to be less than you are. There is nothing safe about shrinking when your soul wants to expand. There is no protection in silence when your voice was made to shatter ceilings. The truth is you felt your power before. In the moments you let go of fear. In the seconds you moved without second guessing. In the quiet knowing that you were made for something massive. Those weren't accidents. Those were glimpses of who you really are. And that version of you, that isn't a fantasy. That isn't just a good day. That is your natural state. The version of you that fear has been trying to keep hidden. The one who moves with clarity, who speaks with weight, who builds what others only imagine. But power doesn't thrive in hiding. It suffocates in waiting. It fades in the shadows of what if. You were never meant to ask permission to be great. You were never meant to wait for the world to give you a stage. You are the stage. You are the movement. You are the moment waiting to be unleashed. And don't confuse that with ego. This isn't about arrogance. This is about ownership, owning your story, owning your voice, owning your divine responsibility to rise even when it's uncomfortable. Because the pain you feel now, it's not the pain of failure. It's the pain of abandoning your own greatness, of watching yourself play a role you were never meant to audition for. You were not born to shrink into the background. You were born to stand unapologetically in the spotlight of your calling, and no, it won't be easy. Power comes with pressure. Growth comes with resistance. Movement comes with uncertainty. But let me ask you this, what's the greater cost? Living with the fear of failure or living with the regret of never finding out who you really could have become? You don't need more time. You don't need a better plan. You don't need their approval. You need to wake up right here, right now, not to a better version of you, but to the version of you that has been waiting in the shadows, suffocating beneath excuses. You were never too much. You were never too intense. You were never asking for too much from life. You were asking too little of yourself. Now is the moment, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, to burn the bridge back to your comfort zone, to stop negotiating with fear, to stop putting your fire on a timer. Wake up. Your time isn't coming. It's here. And the version of you who is powerful, decisive, bold, and relentless, that version of you isn't a fantasy. It's a decision. Make it. It ends now. This cycle you've been stuck in, this endless loop of almost starting, nearly committing, getting inspired, then fading out. It ends now. You've told yourself 1,000 times, this is it. This time I'll change. This time I'll go all in. But every time the pressure rises, you retreat. You shrink. You slip right back into the pattern. You know it well. It starts with fire of vision, a moment of clarity. Your heart beats faster. You feel the idea, the possibility, the pull, and for a second you remember who you are. But then the fear slithers back in. It whispers every reason why not. It shows you every time you failed. It reminds you of every critic, every doubt, every scar. And you don't fight, you don't question it. You let it wrap around you like a blanket and call it comfort. But it's not comfort. It's paralysis. And that cycle, that's not just routine, it's self-betrayal repeated. It's identity erosion moment by moment. Every time you say not now to the very thing you were born to do, you're reinforcing the idea that you're not capable, not ready, not enough. But that's a lie you've been trained to believe by a mind that's terrified of change. Because your brain doesn't want you to grow. It wants you safe. It wants you familiar. It wants you unchanged, even if change is suffocating. So you cling to the pattern. You check all the right boxes. You stay busy with things that don't threaten your comfort. You distract yourself with noise. You become productive at everything except what matters most. And when the ache returns, the one that says you're made for more, you push it down. You tell yourself the timing's off. You tell yourself you need more clarity, more preparation, more signs. But you don't need more signs. You need to stop running. You've rehearsed your excuses so well, you mistake them for facts. You've mastered the art of pause. Hesitation has become your ritual, and it's killing your momentum. You keep waiting for courage to show up, but courage doesn't come before the action. It comes after. It's earned, and you earn it by moving anyway. Even when you're scared, even when it's messy, even when your voice shakes and your hands tremble and nothing feels certain. You don't get to become powerful by studying power. You become powerful by choosing to move when fear tells you to stop. And that choice, that's how you break the pattern. Not with a new routine, not with a vision board, not with more waiting, with one bold, terrifying, uncomfortable step. Because every pattern is a prison until you say, I don't live here anymore. The version of you that always hesitates, let them go. The one that always doubts first, moves second, release them. The one that starts strong and finishes nowhere, bury them. You're not here to loop, you're here to launch. You've circled this mountain long enough. You've studied the map. You've studied the map, collected the tools, learned the lessons. Now it's time to climb. You already know what needs to be done. You've known you're just afraid of what will happen if you finally stop flinching and go all in. But here's what will happen. You'll break through. You'll become undeniable. You'll stop carrying the weight of all your unfulfilled potential. And you'll finally feel free, not because life gets easier, but because you stop living like a hostage to fear. No more waiting. No more perfection. No more excuses disguised as logic. Interrupt the pattern. Defy your default. Rewire your reality. Because nothing about your future changes, until you do. Now that you've broken the lie, now that you've shattered the pattern, there's only one thing left to do. Claim what's yours. Because you've waited long enough. You've stood on the edge, looking out at your life like it belongs to someone else, like you're a guest in your own future, like you're auditioning for a role you were born to play. But this isn't a test. This isn't a simulation. This is your life. And no one is coming to crown you. No one is coming to rescue you. No one's going to hand you the keys to the door you already have the power to kick down. You've spent too long asking for permission to be powerful. Too long waiting for someone to recognize your worth. Too long hoping for a sign that it's your time. Here it is. This is the sign. This is the moment. This is the shift. Because there comes a time when waiting becomes a habit. A time when someday becomes a sentence. A time when being humble becomes hiding. And that time has to end. It's time to take your place. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to walk quietly behind your fear. You are here to own the room, to shift the energy when you speak, to walk like someone who knows they belong, because you do. You've been giving away your power to doubt to people, to timelines that were never meant to hold it. You've been negotiating your dreams like they're on clearance, like they're too expensive to own. But they're not. They are yours. They've always been yours. And no one can take from you what was wired into your soul. So stop asking. Stop shrinking. Stop explaining yourself to people who couldn't handle the full version of you, even if they tried. This isn't about ego. It's about ownership. There's a version of you that doesn't flinch, that doesn't shrink in the face of resistance, that doesn't ask for validation to do what you already know is right. That version isn't out of reach. It's not someday or when everything's aligned. It's now. It's in every decision you make. And every time you say, I go anyway, I speak anyway, I move anyway, because power is a muscle and identity is a choice. You're not shy. You're not weak. You're not inconsistent. Those are just stories you've been sold by fear. You are bold. You are unshakable. You are built for the storm. But don't just think it, be it. Not tomorrow. Not when it's perfect. Not when it's easy. Be it now. Show up for your own name. Speak with weight. Walk like the room is lucky you're in it. Create like it's already yours. Because when you're aligned with your truth, you don't lose. You evolve. The dream doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the ready, the ones who claim it, the ones who stop sitting in the shadows of their doubt and say, I'm done pretending to be less than I am. I'm done handing out discounts on my presence. I'm done waiting for green lights from people who are still stuck at red in their own lives. Your moment isn't coming. It's here. You just have to rise to meet it. So breathe deep, straighten your spine. Look at your life like it's already shifting, because it is. Look at the future like it's already yours, because it can be. Look at yourself like someone worth following, because you are. No more watching. No more waiting. No more watering yourself down to fit into places you were never meant to stay. This is your permission slip. This is your mirror. This is your line in the sand. Claim what's yours, because no one else can. This is it. No more circles. No more loops. No more wishing, waiting, or watering yourself down. Now is the time to become unstoppable, not flawless, not fearless. Unstoppable. Because unstoppable doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you don't bow to it anymore. It means fear can come, doubt can whisper, pain can sting, and you move anyway. You move when it's dark. You speak when your voice shakes. You rise even when the world counts you out, especially then, because you've finally remembered who you are. And once you know, you can't unknow. Once the fire is lit, you can't go back to ashes. Once your eyes are open, you can't pretend to be blind. And right now, you see it. You feel it. The weight of everything you could be pressing against the limits you've outgrown. So break them. Not gently. Break them like they insulted you. Like they tried to trap you in a life too small for your spirit. Like they dared to make you forget your own name. Because you didn't come this far to stop at the door. You didn't wake up for this moment to tiptoe. You came to tear the hinges off. You came to rewrite everything. And no, it won't be easy. There will be days when you feel invisible again. Moments where fear tightens its grip. Where the old voice creeps in and says, you're not there yet. But this time, you know what to say. You look fear in the eye and say, you're not rejection. You're not truth. You're fear, and I don't follow fear anymore. You don't follow fear. You don't follow silence. You don't follow doubt. You lead your life. You lead your decision. You lead your future. And you stop negotiating with anything that tries to keep you small. It's not about being loud. It's about being undeniable. That when you walk in, energy shifts. That when you speak, people listen. Not because you scream, but because you speak with truth. That when you act, the world adjusts to the weight of your conviction. You don't owe the world perfection. You owe it your honesty, your power, your movement. You don't need to wait for confidence. Confidence is built in the fire. Confidence is born the moments you act anyway. And every time you do, every time you show up when fear says, hide, you're building a life that can't be broken. Not because you're fearless, but because you've chosen power over pause, action over approval, conviction over comfort. That's what makes you unstoppable. It's not a title. It's not a spotlight. It's a decision. One you make again, again, and again until the world learns not to question your presence. So this is the moment. The split in the road. You can go back to the cycle. You can go back to the excuses, the what ifs, or you can burn the script, rip up the story that says you're not ready. Tear down the beliefs that say you're too much, too late, too far behind, and write a new one right here, right now. This is the version of you that doesn't negotiate, that doesn't flinch, that doesn't ask life for permission. Because life was never meant to cage you. It was meant to be claimed by you. So claim it, own it, and never look back. The world doesn't need another person hiding. The world needs you fully awake, fully present, fully free. Say it with your chest. Say it with your action. Say it with your life. I don't follow fear anymore. I am unstoppable.